I watched Infinity, and that's the greatest interest of all time. What's up, bitches, bros, non-binary hoes?
I don't think.
I got everyone. So welcome to another episode of MPs and MVP, or we are
the military police.
That's right. And we're bringing you another episode.
In the words of Stephen A. Stay off the weed.
Trying to get his frames interesting. So I gotta be all the way over here. But anyways.
There you go.
Alright, so we're gonna be talking about Vinland. We're gonna be talking about Vinland Saga today, and Aramis' legs are so wide open that I could throw a pillow into it. But anyway, like a full body pillow, like one of those really creepy anime ones.
Like my wife's body pillow behind her.
That's not a creepy anime one.
Oh,
like, I really expected to turn around and be a creepy anime one.
That is technically a body pillow, but
yeah.
you meant the ones with anime characters.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're really super weird.
And I was like, is that just been behind? That's what's silly. Any of y'all should just spread it. If anybody, it'd be like somebody from Fullmetal. That's crazy too.
Man, but if it was Edward, it wouldn't be a full body pillow. It'd be like a chest pillow, right?
Because he's so short.
Exactly.
I did. I'm not because he's so short, yeah.
Anyways, we're supposed to talk about Vinland Saga. It's not about body pillows.
Supposed to be keyword.
Yeah, so Aramis is not watching Vinland Saga yet. Brody has watched season 1 and 2. Did you watch it also?
Yeah.
Watch it also. I watched season 1 and like 9 episodes of season 2, so I'm almost there. And man, it's a fucked up anime. Is the best way to explain it.
Really? Whoa.
Dude, so it's like Attack on Titan, like on gore level. Because
yeah. Hold up, you said what? And gore level.
The level of gore
right.
that is in Vinland Saga is on par with the level of gore that is in Attack on Titan.
Okay.
Like literally, it shows people getting cut in half and then the bodies going flying and stuff. Like
they show
it shows the dude's head being crushed and it shows his brain and everything.
They show war. What? So just like what's the other one with the demon guy?
Demon Slayer?
No, demon guy. The guy that has the chainsaw. Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
Because Chainsaw Man is pretty gory.
Yeah, Chainsaw Man is pretty gory. So yeah, it's on the same level of gore with all. I would say that Hell's Paradise probably has more gore than so far.
Than all the rest of the show has been so gory.
In its short span, yeah.
So much blood in these 6 episodes.
Which I mean, like,
it should.
The premise that they're going for in that show, it's like, nah, I get it.
Right.
Especially you start bringing in immortal beings, there's gonna be blood.
That last episode was dope. We'll talk about that in another podcast, though. But I mean, season 1, dude, how like they say in season 2 that Thorfinn was at war for like 14 years, and he's only or 12 years.
Okay,
he said he went to battlefield when he was 5.
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts.
Because remember, at the very you don't. Because you have to point it out. I'm gonna look you in the eye and say, "Remember when?" Wait, no, you didn't. I can remember. Listen, when words come to my head,
remember something I've never seen. You know, give me a chance.
When words come to my head, I say them. All right. I can try to imagine what's going on. All right, so imagine that's a 5-year-old in a boat with his dad, who's an amazing warrior. They get ambushed in that boat. Get ambushed by like 50 people who are just in boats.
Like 6 boats, right?
I think so. And then you look up in the canyons that surround the water you're in, just have people with arrows, just a bunch of them just looking at you.
A bunch of archers aiming down at your ass.
And then you're just sitting there in the boat while your dad's like, hey, just lay there, like, be okay, like, I got this. And then your dad does begin to just beat the shit out of all these people.
Hand to hand, too. These guys have axes and swords and daggers coming at him. He's dodging and just, bam, open palming people to the face and knocking them into the water and stuff.
Just outright eviscerating these people.
This dude eats fucking mushrooms and goes absolutely crazy and attacks him. and Thor still beats the fuck out of him.
But they got arrows surrounding them. They got Archie, so why don't the Archie...
Because he jumped into the boat with the men, so they were trying to shoot at him, they were going to shoot their own people.
Oh.
So he is an experienced fighter. Like, they were saying, so they're called the Armed Vikings, right?
I don't remember. That's episode 1 shit, man.
Yeah. I mean, they talk about it in season 2 a little bit, too. But they're called, like, the Armed Vikings or something like that, and they're mercenaries. They weren't part of the King's Army or anything like that. They were just some of the best fighters from around Norway, right?
Yeah, he was just recruiting.
Yeah, and so they were some of the best fighters around Norway and stuff. Thor's was literally their best fighter, and he just got tired of killing people.
He was tired. Went home.
Literally, he just death first.
He was tired.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said, I was tired. Like, I was done killing people. I mean, arguably, he's probably been in, I'd say at least 10 battles. Like, not, I mean, like, long battles and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Because the Vikings came in and raided and all that stuff. In those 10 battles, he had to have killed well over 400 people, 500 people, and you're doing it in hand-to-hand, close quarters and all that stuff, so, like, imagine, like, you saw in Season 2 the nightmares Thorfinn was having, which are probably worse because he was a child murdering all those people, like 12 years old, going on murder sprees.
But even moving away from Taurus, is like literally Thorfinn, who was the boy, who was the main character of that show, does not get taken in by the people who murdered his dad. He follows them in order to try to kill the guy who killed his dad, and just keeps challenging him. And everyone's letting him do it because they're just beating the shit out of Ascalon. And he's just beating the shit out of him every time.
Well, he kills him every single time.
And he just beats the shit out of him.
Yeah, so, like, you see Thorfinn becoming, like, getting better and better and better as a fighter and everything like that. And so Ascalon eventually, like, has to stop fighting him because Ascalon would be like, nah, I'm gonna fucking loot.
The fuck was that? Bluetooth.
It didn't sound like no Bluetooth.
I wasn't sure what up here did it.
So Ascalon eventually literally starts, like, goading him, talking shit about his dad and how he'll never get revenge and everything like that. And Ascalon just continues to break both of his arms one time, doesn't he? Or at least one of his arms.
Yeah, I think it's one.
Yeah, it ends up, like, breaks one of his arms one time, and then he ends up still fighting.
And he just hides a knife in it.
Yeah, like, literally wraps a knife inside of it, and then who's his uncle that he fights? I can't remember what his name is.
The dude who punched the horse?
Yes, knocked out the horse.
He's some type of Taurus also.
Yeah, and he loses an eye. He lost an eye and 2 fingers.
Think a dude who's about the size of, like, a slim Hulk. Like, a dude that size fighting a 12-year-old.
Imagine half Thor Bronson. Or, is that his last name is?
I don't know what his last name is. I know you're talking about.
Yeah, the bodybuilder that I'm talking about.
The mountain.
Yeah, the mountain. Imagine him fighting a 12-year-old. No, he's still alive. He's about to have a kid.
I don't know about all that, but...
I follow him, so...
Fair enough.
Imagine him fighting a 12-year-old.
Depending on how big some 12-year-olds...
Like, just in general. And the 12-year-old knocking him the fuck out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he hits him in the chin twice and knocks him the fuck out.
It just makes him angry, but...
No one's ever hit him in the gym before. Like, Ascalon cheats, too. They do cheat a little bit.
Oh. No, he doesn't. Because there's not a rule in these fights, so he's not cheating.
And he didn't join the fight, technically. He flashed him.
It's like, hey... No one out here came through and said, hey, here's the things you were not allowed to do. Like, nah. They also picked up their boats and ran across land at one point.
That was
smart as hell. They were like, it's going to take forever to go around on these boats, and they know we're coming. So they just picked up the boats, ran it across the land, and then went somewhere else.
And then as soon as they got down the hill, they jumped inside of the boats and rode them downhill. I was like, I don't think that's possible.
I mean, if it's a well-made boat, and this is actual just like not a super rocky hill or whatever.
Yeah, but it depends on the angle of the decline, really.
Yeah, and how you made this boat.
Yeah, and I mean, if it's a heavy-ass boat with people inside of it, it's not going to be able to go.
Well, not even that it wouldn't be able to go. It's that if it's too much of a point on the bottom of it.
Oh, it'll tilt.
Yeah, you're just.
Well, I mean, if you're depending on the speed that you're going, it's not going to tilt because it's going to stay on that initial axis. It's not going to tilt depending on how fast you're going.
It's not made to do that.
But it's like a bike, kind of.
Yeah, but you are also at the center of your gravity holding a bike up. You're asking 18 people to be in this boat and being in control of not only your center of gravity, but the entire boat's.
Yeah. Did they take the mast down?
I don't remember.
I think the mast would be a major problem.
Like, it probably would not work in real life. just
saying, I don't think that would work in real life.
But fast forward for you, because I already know how I felt about it. From season 1 to season 2,
I got a little confused.
those are 2 different shows for me.
What?
They are basically 2 different
Not
shows.
just that, so I was trying to figure out how Half-Thor, I'm sorry, not Half-Thor, how Thorfinn became a slave. Because the last thing I remember from season 1, he found the guy with the mustache. I can't remember what his name is. The one that was looking for him.
Leaf?
Yeah, he found Leaf, and Leaf was like, let's go, we'll go to Finland and everything like that. And it ended.
Nah.
What happened after that? I missed it, I guess.
What are you talking about?
Because at the end, when Askeladd dies,
Yeah, I remember that.
in
Aslan cuts the king's head off, Thorfinn gets pissed off, slashes the face of...
Canute or
Yeah,
whatever,
Canute, that's what his name. Slashes the face of Canute, and then he gets thrown out, goes to jail. Someone gets him out of jail, I can't remember who it is. Someone gets him out of jail, he finds Leif, and then Leif says, let's go to Finland.
nah.
That's the last thing I remember.
The reason he's a slave is because he drew a weapon on the royalty. Like, ain't nobody getting your ass out of that. Like,
I could have sworn was it a dream? I could have sworn he got out.
maybe. I don't really remember that part. But again, season 2 is 20 episodes in. Well, 22 episodes in, I think. So, yeah. It was like,
Yeah, so I've got all the way to the part where the farmhands destroy their wheat, and then they go after him. Basically, they went and told the watcher of the fields, like the guy that was a slave who got his freedom back.
oh, yeah, Pater.
Yeah, Pater. They went and told Pater and everything like that, and they're walking back, and the farmhands are coming over the hill, and Thorfinn's like, no, let's not do this stuff. And then Thorfinn ends up throwing the punch, and then Thorfinn ends up seeing his dad again in his dream or whatever, and he's just like, you have no enemy.
Yeah, and it's funny because like a lot of people were shitting on season 2, and a lot of people were coming to his defense, and they were like, "Oh, the people who are shitting on season 2 just want a bunch of action and fighting, and they're just meatheads." And it's like, what did you see from season 1 that made you think that in season 2 I expected a slave farm story?
Yeah, but I like the character development.
I don't give a shit.
What do you think of? So I'm not as far as you are. So what do you think of Snake?
Here's the thing. Season 2 is still good.
Yeah.
But when you had it on 10, and then randomly you were like, we're going to cut it down to like a 3.
No, you said 3?
Not in terms of being good or not. It just in terms of action.
Yeah, like literally.
Kind of like Ragnarok kind.
Ragnarok, I won't say that because Ragnarok literally they're like, hey, we're gonna give you 2 fights.
Right.
So the way they do it, it's like you understand that in this season you're going to get a couple of episodes of action, and the way they do it is basically like, hey, here's story about what's going on in the tournament. Here's story about the first fighter. Here's some of the fight. Here's story about the other fighter. Here's some of the fight. And that's 5 episodes. And they do it again for the second fight. So it's understood and it's set out to where you know what's happening. It's a tournament anime. Vinland Saga was...
From episode probably 5 of season 1.
It was...
They cranked. So I'd say like 1 through 5, they probably kept it like a 6. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there was some action, they were building it up and everything like that. And the anime quality throughout the entire show is crisp and clean.
That doesn't fall off at all.
Ever. And it's so good. That's one of the things I really like about the anime. And then they turn to episode 5 whenever Thor gets attacked and everything like that. And they take it from like a 5 or a 6 and they literally turn it up to 12. And they leave it there throughout the rest of the fucking season 1. They literally just leave it there.
And it's one of those things like when you've started to root for someone, which you do very early on for Thorfinn, you're rooting for him, and then you see, hey, no, that guy's on 10. Every other anime where you've watched someone and you're sitting here like, see, at this moment when he has said that about my mom, I would have already hit you. Thorfinn already hit him. He hit him 3 minutes ago.
Yeah, like in the middle of him saying something about his mom, Thorfinn hit him.
He hit him a long time ago. You didn't get a chance to talk about his mom. No. You were talking about someone else's mom, and Thorfinn came from behind you with 2 daggers and was like, we're trying to have lunch. And it was like, so it was just so on 10, and then you get to season 2, and it's a time skip. he's older now.
Like
3 years or something
And
like
then
that.
something like that. And then it's just like, all right, there he is. And he's like...
Yeah, he's empty.
It's like, I was not prepared to move from high-octane action into this is what depression is. And I'm like, all right. If it was a kind of a die down towards it, if you had gave me a couple of episodes that said, hey, this is his track record of becoming the slave or whatever, because you get that story for his secondary character in that season. So
so that's tell you how he became a slave and everything?
Yeah, you get the whole backstory
Okay,
of how...
I've been wondering...
of what's his face? The redhead dude.
Oh, yeah.
You get his whole progression of, hey, this is what it started off. Yeah, something like that. You get the whole thing of how he became a slave.
Yeah.
Thorfinn, just now where we're at, like, literally, he's talking to Canute again. And Canute's like,
Yeah, I've seen
sorry to make you a slave, buddy.
Yeah, like, so... I've seen, obviously, TikTok. I follow a lot of anime stuff on TikTok and stuff like that. So I've seen that he fights that guy and he like has to take 60 punches or something like that. And he gets 100 punches. And he gets hit once. And he's just like, damn it, I stopped paying attention. Then he gets hit the second time. And the guy's like laughing and everything. And you see his face and like he's just like, what are you doing? There's still 98 punches to go. And it's like, God damn, you haven't really changed, have you?
That's definitely, like, that's literally just happened in episode, like, 20.
Yeah.
So, he changed. He had to get back to that.
You saw in, like, episode, I think it was, like, episode 6, when Snake, pulled the sword out and went to attack him, and he, like, did that backflip, and then came with the roundhouse kick to the head, and everyone's like, God, whoa!
It's one of those things, like, you're still athletic. They had you cutting trees and removing the stumps by hand.
Yeah, I was like, if anything, you
wanted
got
to give him a
stronger.
horse. It was like,
I was like, if anything, you got stronger, and I would just be terrified to see what you could do with, like, 2 short swords, because you're a little bit bigger now, 2 daggers ain't gonna do much,
I think you still rock the daggers.
Yeah, I don't know, we'll find out, because, like you said, in episode 20, he's just now getting to talk to Canute again.
Yeah.
So, should be interesting to figure out where it goes from here.
Yeah, because it's literally, it gets back into the whole him going back and forth on trying to find the ground of where he wants to be on. I understand why people fight, but I don't want to fight. But in order for people not to fight, maybe I personally have to fight. So he's doing that whole back and forth on, I want to be a pacifist, but how do I do that when the only way that I know how to finish these issues is through violence? Which, after he has his night terrors, he doesn't want to deal with anymore.
Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense because, like, we were talking about at the age of 6, he killed his first person. At the age, and then he was in war for 12 years.
Just constant.
Yeah, constant battles. And so from 6 to 18, all he did was murder people. So that did a great job at it. So I can see where his first thought is, I can just kill this person. Like, it'd be over because you did it for 12 years.
It's like, I can guarantee I will not have problems with you anymore if you don't breathe anymore.
Exactly. Because no one ever taught him diplomacy.
But at the same time, the people he was fighting wasn't looking for diplomacy.
Right, they were trying to take over England.
Mm-hmm. They weren't coming up and saying, hey, let's talk about this. They were like, nah, I'm taking your shit and I'm leaving.
Like, I was thinking about, like, the historical point of view from it, and I was, like, checking things out and stuff. And they've actually been pretty on point with how things actually happened in history and stuff, which I thought was kind of cool, too.
Yeah, it very much seemed like they were going to be rooted enough to where no one was going to come through too super hard and be like, that never happened. And it's like, yeah, but it's more interesting if we talk about it this way. I'm not going to bring it up in a way that's uninteresting to a show.
Right.
And it's like, okay, yeah. So Canute went to talk to this king, and they had a peaceful conversation, and then Canute went home.
I mean, they did, but it's like, how about we say that when Canute showed up, there was 10 guys up in the rafters, archers, and there were, like, another 10 guys hidden around with, like, daggers and stuff like that. So if anything popped off, they were like, come on, kill him.
Like, let's make it look interesting.
Exactly.
Which they did a very good job of doing. I am interested in seeing what they're doing because they, it's one of those where I'm at is, well, I think it says it's either 22 episodes in the season or 24. I don't remember.
But he's been crowned as the King of England, right? Canute?
Yes.
And the King of Denmark?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
He wasn't mine. He wasn't mine too, like in season or in episode like 9, I think. Or 8.
So the reason behind that is like his dad was king of
Denmark.
Of the entire thing, but gave one to one son, one to the other son. And then he was like, I want it all.
So he killed his brother?
Yeah.
He killed his brother.
Yeah, he did.
I thought what had happened was that I forgot his name, the one dude that killed the dwarves. Damn it. The one who was the king of
Askeladd.
Right. Askeland decapitated the king.
Mm-hmm.
And then he picked up the crown and said, I am now king of Denmark and England. And then England attacked again, and their old previous king, who had run away whenever Sweyn, the previous king of Denmark, who was decapitated by Askeland, invaded, he came back to try and take over England. And then, remember that guy who offered him like 200 pounds of silver, and he just walked over the top of it and was like, you really think that 200 pounds of silver is enough because this is my kingdom, like I'm king?
Yeah. So essentially, that was him at that moment taking over for their dad. When his dad died, he was like, nah, well, I'm the king of this. And that's what he was already going to get when the dad died.
Right, because him and Askeland were planning that before they had even decapitated Sweyn.
But the rest of his father's kingdom was already gifted over to the eldest son.
Okay.
So you will see in season 2, he murders his brother.
Okay, and then I got to the point where even like his son, the old king of England's son, tried to take over and stuff, but then he killed him too. And says from disease, and it's like, nah, they were both poisoned.
There's a couple of people dying from disease out here, right?
A lot of people die from disease. So he goes and kills his little brother.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Because he a dog.
I mean,
yeah.
He's that guy.
You do see him he's started getting training and whatnot from a couple of different people. He's king. So
Right.
Any prominent fighter that they have.
But he does look like he changed. And I do remember in season 1 he was like, even if I have to become a demon to make a paradise, that's what I'll do. And then he definitely kind of becomes a demon in season 2. Dude, when he was standing on top of that mountain of silver and was like, do you think this is enough? I am your king. And I was like, God damn.
I don't know. I don't remember exactly when they started showing it, but he sees the severed head of his dad just from time to time. He just sees it, and it talks to him. So it'll just be like he's in a conversation. Like the way we're talking right now, like if I was Canute, like just right in front of that screen would just be his severed head talking to him as if he's part of the conversation we're having. Just going, it's like, all right, that was a good way to handle this. As king, you should have killed him. Why would you let him continue to talk to you that way? There you go. You killed him. Good boy. And then he just has conversations with him.
So Canute just loses his mind.
I mean, a little bit.
But it's, like, I feel like you gotta lose your mind a little bit to get that dog in you, you know?
I mean, in that show at least.
Right? In that day and age.
But his whole thing is, it is basically that the ends justify the means type thing. So it's like he's going to do whatever he feels is going to get him to his end goal.
So do you feel like Wolfgang can come back like even better than he was before?
What do you mean by better?
Like, because he was a very gifted soldier, warrior, whatever you want to call him. You know, bodyguard especially. Like the way he took care of Canute, especially at the end of the last few episodes and stuff. Pretty good bodyguard. Is he going to come back to that fashion of being that agile, being able to take people out like he used to, or do you think that he's not going to go back to war at all?
Well, you've already seen glimpses of the fact that he hasn't lost a step.
Yeah.
Where I'm at, he hasn't lost a step.
Okay.
Like the guy who comes out after Snake starts cutting him and whatnot, the guy who stops him from doing that, I might be switching.
No, you got it wrong. So it's Fox that is cutting him, and Snake comes out.
Yeah. So when
Snake is badass in purple.
Yeah, and you saw him fight Snake a little bit.
I mean, Snake drew on him.
You saw him start to get into a little scuffle.
Yeah.
You see them fight later.
Ooh.
And that's when you see it is. Because you see
I'm going to watch this shit.
That's the moment where you see Thorfinn goes, like,
Dude,
I gotta be violent sometimes.
The fights in Vinland Saga, man, are all hand-to-hand combat. Well, yeah, they have swords and stuff like that, but it's still hand-to-hand combat. That is some of the best. That's what I love about Dragon Ball Z. Like, people aren't using guns, swords, and stuff like that. It's all hand-to-hand combat. And that's one of the best things about anime in general. It's just people throwing hands.
If it's done right, I really like it.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'll be like, that was okay.
So back to Dragon Ball Z, it's hit and miss me because they'll show them throwing hands, and then they start disappearing, and all you see is the... And I'm just like, you motherfuckers!
And those are those moments where I'm like, all right, okay, cool. Because I also don't like when I'm seeing the entire fight and then you cut to this other dude just for that other dude to be like, I can't even see what they're doing. And it's like, why the fuck am I looking at TN right now?
It's a valid point.
I don't give a shit, TN. Unless you're going to pull out that Neo Tri-Beam, I
don't
give a fuck.
TN got 3 eyes. You should be able to see anything.
You
should be able to listen to nothing.
This is crazy. Like, why do you keep looking back and forth? I'm trying to see them while they're on the ground. So that's your problem first.
Fuck. This third eye is not helpful.
Master Roshi, can you see him? I ain't been looking for days, buddy. I stayed at home.
Okay, there's a whole episode where you actually find out. I don't know if y'all have watched Super, whoever's watching this. I don't know if you're caught up on Super. There's a whole episode where you find out Master Roshi's been smoking weed for years.
Yeah.
And that's why he's up 300 years old. But it's like special weed from the spirit world, right? Yeah, he's smoking turtle weed from the spirit world.
There's magic in Dragon Ball Z, and it's all bullshit.
Right. But I'm excited to finish. Like I said, like you said, there's a fight between Thorfinn and Snake, so I'm going to go home and start watching this shit again. I don't have Netflix anymore because of all that fucking bullshit. Everyone should cancel Netflix. Fuck those guys.
Because of you?
Yes,
just fuck them. Solidarity.
Exactly. Everyone join with me. We'll have a battle cry. I'll make some chili. It'll be good.
A battle cry and some chili.
Hey, you ain't down for it.
I can't support.
No, you don't hate chili?
No, I'm cool with chili. I'm not canceling my Netflix for you.
Man, so, I don't know about y'all. We're getting off subject, but this is the thing that I need to know about.
Y'all ever had a butternut sandwich? I know it sounds bad. I know it does.
This sounds like one of those middle school things.
It was.
Where you say something, and then as soon as they say no, you hit them in the nuts.
No.
And then now I gotta just fight you.
That's not what it is. So, you know the puff marshmallow spread?
Mm-hmm.
You get that, you put it on one side of the sandwich. And then on the other side of the sandwich, you put peanut butter. Then you put them together and you dip them in your chili. And it's one of the greatest things in the entire planet. I know my wife looks at me the same way, and she's like, I ain't doing that, but it's so good.
I feel like I would have to like marshmallow way more than I do for me to like that. I mean, they're okay.
Well, you look high as fuck. Or just out of this conversation.
I mean,
Listen. First and foremost,
This is the most he said the whole
you know it's gonna be bad when they say listen twice.
Listen.
I've been listening to this. It's been a great conversation. But usually on a regular day, this is my bedtime before work. So I'm here, but
I'm not here.
I'm not here. But I'm listening to a great conversation. I just go back and forth.
I noticed, like, he's looking at the screen. I just keep noticing.
I was like, he's invested in our sleep. It's fine.
Right. All right, that's all I got for Vinland Saga. And butternut sandwiches. You guys should try it. It's delicious.
Man, listen, I said, man, this is really weird. I'm like struggling.
You know, bro, one of the reasons I love you is because you're always a skeptical black man.
I don't think I am. I don't agree.
Every time something is said, your first reaction is, I don't know.
Stop saying weird shit. Don't come at me with the weirdest shit and then expect me to be like, nah, that's okay.
I want you to be my friend.
No. Oh, I will be your friend and tell you what's wrong with you.
That's a good friend, people.
We're just getting started.